Yeah, just it's starting with
Okay. So, okay.
start something.
Mr. Speaker, the motion before us today in the House is that this House believes that representative democracies with large number of foreigners should have specific seats in the Parliament. We describe this House as European Union, EU. There are a couple of reasons why. First of all, we have to acknowledge what is different in this 21st century from other centuries when democracy was actually invented, or more specifically, representative democracies, where the concept of representative democracy was invented, right? In 21st century, we see an increased mobility of people. So people are moving around, and it's very easy for people to go from one country to another in search of job, education, whatever you tell. And in respect of European Union, it's more easy because European Union basically is not now like a borderless union where citizens of one country can easily go to another country without any requirement of visa or any specific requirements which are established in other parts of the world, right? So that's why we choose EU, because there is more mobility of people. There are a huge number of foreigners living in different countries. For example, Polish workers living in Germany or Greek workers living in Italy. So that is why EU. Second of all, the reason of choosing EU is that we see in the present status quo a number of these foreign workers or foreign students in these countries where they have absolutely no representation in the political discourse. They're systematically being abused and disenfranchised from the local population, right? Because the political parties don't have any political will in the present status quo to actually care about these foreigners. So how are governments determine like who are these foreigners and what are basically the criteria? We think it's fairly simple. The people who are legally entering one country for purpose of work, education, or whatever, before becoming the naturalized citizens, they can choose to leave the country or just stay and become naturalized citizens. They will be termed as foreigners or immigrants, whatever you call them, and they will have the right to vote and to select their own representative for a specific seat in the parliament of the local constituency. Moving on. Mr. Speaker, what is the problem in the current status quo? The problem is that the difference between the ethnic minorities and the foreigner minority in all these countries or local constituency is that ethnic minorities are citizens of that country, though they are minorities. And because they are citizens, they have the right to vote, and that is why the political parties have somewhat a political will established in the status quo, which makes them care more about these ethnic minorities to get their vote, right? When you have people who can vote for you, to elect you for the government, you will care about them because you want to get their vote. But it's uniquely different situation for the foreigners of the country because they don't, in the present status quo, have the right to vote, and that's why no one in the government or no one in the administration care about them. No one caters to their unique needs which they have. We have to acknowledge here that a Bangladeshi naturalized citizen in Britain is uniquely different from a Bangladeshi fresh off the boat who just went to Britain. Their needs are going to be different. Their social customs and unique needs are going to be completely different, right? So what we see is that these foreigners are like minorities in the places they live. But they have absolutely zero representation because they don't have the right to vote. That is why, as a part of the ideal of representative democracy, which by its name says that all the people living in a constituency should have some kind of representation, should have some kind of participation in the... Yeah, sure.
POI?
Go for it, POI.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sir. So, what percentage of the parliament would be composed of these special seats, or how would you determine the quantity of the seats in relationship, to the majority in the parliament, and how would they be attributed to particular groups?
Okay, so I didn't talk about the nitty-gritties of like how it's gonna work, but I think it's pretty simple. Like if you have a larger population, then if you have a minority foreigner in a local constituency, you're gonna give at least one of them as a representative, and those minority people will vote to elect their own representative in the parliament, right? We think it's at least one in the national, like the federal level or in the national level of parliament. And if you have a larger population, larger than that, when you feel like you need 2 or 3 representatives, then there will be 2 and 3. Simple. Okay, moving on. So as we see that if we give them this right to vote to elect their own representative in their parliament, they're gonna have that a contribution in the political discourse of the country, which is a problem in the current status quo when these foreigners have absolutely no representation, no participation in the political discourse, in the social discourse of these countries, right? So this right to vote, to elect their own representative, will not only make the representative talk about the unique needs of these foreigners in that parliament, or to make sure that these people are not abused by the majority people, but also all of these people will feel more inclined to be as part of the state, to be part of the political discourse that's been continuing in the state they're living in right now for work, education, or whatever, right? Okay, my second constructive is about the contract, right? What are unique about the citizens of a country? The unique thing is that just because of the lottery of birth, when people are born in this certain country they're born in, they're supposed to be just by birth, by default, they're supposed to be part of the social contract we have between the state and the people. And because they're part of this social contract, the state thinks the citizens have the right to vote, and that is why the state has a responsibility to work for the citizens because of the social contract, right? But when we talk about these foreigners, when these foreigners enter a country, they sign an explicit contract where they say that they have to abide by all the laws and rules and regulations of the country they're entering into. They have to contribute back to the society. They cannot break any law or rules. And if they break those laws, they have to follow the instructions of the laws prescribed by the state they're entering into, right? So we see this explicit form of consent given by them when they're entering this country. And we think that's a fairly obvious similar contract as the social contract of the citizens of a country believe. And that is why we think state also has that responsibility to take care of these foreigners. Okay, not only because of this explicit contract the foreigners sign when they enter into a country, which is similar to the social contract of a citizen, but also this immigrant population or this foreigner population who go to these different countries to work or to get education, they significantly contribute back to the society. How so? We can give, no thanks, we can give several examples, right? For example, if we talk about like a student like a Greek student who is studying in Germany, he might not be a citizen, he might be there for only 4 years, but still, he's contributing back to the society by his experience, by his volunteerism, or more specifically, by his expenditures. He's buying products from the market, he's contributing back to the economy. He might be doing part-time jobs, which is contributing back to the economy, strengthening the economy of Germany, right? So in there are numerous ways, numerous examples, which we can cite to say that these foreigners who are living in a different country are actually contributing back to the society. In many cases, they are even a huge important part of the economy, because we know that in European Union or US or Canada, whatever you say, they actually have this old population. That is why they need the support of the immigrant population. They need support of these foreigners who come here and work hard to actually sustain the economy they already have, right? So we think because of the contribution these foreigners give back to the society, because they explicitly sign the contracts when they enter the country to maintain the rule of law, to maintain all the laws of the state, they also, like the state should also have a responsibility to represent them, to talk about them, to cater to their unique needs, right? For all these reasons, we think it's very, we should change the style of representative democracy we so far had, because it's 21st century, there is huge mobility of people, and we as a democracy have to stop tyranny of majority or minority, and these foreigners are obviously one of the minority who are being oppressed in the current status quo. Thank you.
Okay. Great, fantastic.